Iain from RTO. Welcome to a really miserable Monday. It's Friday. Friday morning. Raining. Ugh. But we got something nice and warm and bright to keep us going. It's a live album ranking, and it's one of the great prog bands, Graaf Generator. Formed back in 1967 by Peter Hamill, Chris Judge. Very popular band, big in Italy in the 70s. Reformed in 2005. And they now have a lineup of Hugh Banton and Guy Evans. And over the years they have released 9 live albums. So we'll kick off with number 9, which is Maida Vale, the BBC Radio 1 sessions. Recorded at the Maida Vale BBC studios in 71, 75 and 76. And it was first released in 1994. They did a re-release in 2015 as well. So playing on here are Peter Hamill, vocals, pianos and guitars, Hugh Banton, organ, bass, pedals, and Guy Evans on the drums and tiptoe, David Jackson, saxophones, flutes. So this one opens up with The Great Darkness from 1971, and it's from the album The Least We Can Do Is Wave to Each Other. It's a great track. Then we have Manog from Porn Hearts. And then Scorched Earth from God Bluff, which was done in 75 on the John Peel show. Sleepwalkers is from God Bluff as well, and that was done on the John Peel show. These are all on John Peel. Still Life, title track from the album. La Rosa from Still Life. When She Comes from World Record, and Masks from World Record. I know this isn't a concert, but it's live in the studio and it's raw and it's pretty good. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, coming in at number 8. Released in 2018. It is live at Rockpalast, Leverkusen in 2005. So it's Peter Hamill again, David Jackson, Hugh Banton and Guy Evans. And they opened this little setup with a track from Gold Bluff, The Undercover Man, which is a fabulous track. They all are anyway. Staying with the same album, God Bluff, we have Scorched Earth. And then they do a track off the album that they were promoting at the time, and it's Every Bloody Emperor, which is off the album Present. Really good. A little bit of Lemons from Porn Hearts, which is fabulous. They still play it well. Darkness from The Least We Can Do Is Wave at Each Other. Excellent track. Then we go to the Still Life album for a bit of Childlike Faith, which is fabulous. That's only CD 1. CD 2 has got Sleepwalkers on it from Gold Bluff. Then they do another track from Present. They do Nutter Alert, which I really like. Go back to the classics then with Manog from Porn Hearts. The Brilliant Killer from H to He Who Am the Only One. I love that track. One of the first tracks I heard by Graaf Generator. Wandering from World Record finishes this one off. So another fine performance. It was nice to see David Jackson back in the mix in 2005. Really like this album. You know, Peter sounds great on it, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 7. Now this was released in 2009, but it was recorded at the Paradiso in 07 in Amsterdam. It's Peter Hamill, Hugh Banton and Guy Evans. This opens up with the 13-minute version of from Porn Hearts, Lemmings. Yeah, if you're going to open up with a classic, open up with Lemmings. 13 minutes of it, brilliant. We go to the World Record album for A Place to Survive. Lovely to hear that. And then we go to one of the newer albums, for me, what I call them new. It's from the Trisector album, Lifetime. It's a great track. In the Black Room, which is actually from a Peter Hamill solo album. It's actually from The Chameleon in the Shadow of the Night, which is an excellent track. From Present we have Every Bloody Emperor. And then from Trisector again we have All That Before. I really like that. Then they do GOG. Now GOG was recorded on the Still Life sessions but didn't appear on any album until the deluxe version of Still Life. It's a great track. I'd heard it before. Anyway, so. Then from World Record we have Mergully the Third Songwriters Guild, which is a super track off there. It doesn't get the love it deserves. It's a fantastic track. Sleepwalkers from Gold Bluff, can't go wrong there. Manerg from Porn Hearts and Scorched Earth from Gold Bluff rounds off this one. It's a pretty solid performance. I think it's that they haven't changed much. You know, Peter's voice is still good, you know, considering all the health issues he's had. So I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay, coming in number 6, we have Real Time live at the Royal Festival Hall, which was done in May of 2005, and it was released in 2007. It's the reunion concert, and it includes at least one song from every album released between 1970 and 1976, plus the reunion album Present. So it is the full band: Peter Hamill, David Jackson, Hugh Banton and Guy Adams. They open up this one with another really good track. It's from God Bluff, and it's The Undercover Man. Fantastic to hear that live. Then they follow that up from the same album with Gold Bluff, Refugees, absolute classic from The Least We Can Do Is Wave to Each Other. I love that title. Then we have Every Bloody Emperor, which is becoming sort of a favourite of theirs to do from Present. Lemmings is on here. In the Black Room, The Chameleon in the Shadow album from Peter. Nutter Alert. It's quite a quirky track. Then we have Darkness from The Least We Can Do Is Wave. Masks from New World Record. Brilliant track from Still Life. Childlike Faith in Childhood's End. The Sleepwalkers is on here from Gold Bluff. Manerg, always a favourite. Killer from the H to He album. Wandering from New World Record. Pilgrims from Still Life, really great to hear that. Excellent track. Then we have When She Comes from World Record. Still Life's on here. And then they end it with a little bit of gibberish recorded at a soundtrack in Amsterdam. Sort of right like the Rockpalast, but this is the fuller album. It's a shame they didn't do anything off the first album, but it's still a very, very good concert, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay then, coming in at number 5. This was released in 2012, and it's recorded live at the Metropolis studios in London. In 2010, 120 lucky fans braved a blizzard to travel to this gig for a very rare appearance by Peter Hamill, Hugh Banton and Guy Evans. So it's a very intimate gig, and they kicked this one off from Trisector, Interference Patterns, which is one of my favourite tracks off that album. The lovely Nutter Alert, which is a fabulous track. Then we go to a grounding in numbers, which are the newer albums, and a track called Your Time Starts Now. Go back to the classics now for Lemmings from Porn Hearts, Lifetime from Trisector, Bun Show from the Grounding in Numbers, really good track, one of the modern tracks. The Childlike in Childhood's End from Still Life, Another number from the Grounding in Numbers, Mr. Sands, another good track. Then 2 tracks from Trisector, Over the Hill and We Are Not There. And this one ends with Manerg from Porn Hearts. A very special gig for them 120 people. Fine performance. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, coming in number 4. This was released in 2023. It's recorded at the Forum in Bath in 2022. And it's called the Bath Forum Concert. Peter Hamill, Hugh Banton and Guy Evans. We've got Interference Patterns on here from Trisector. Every Bloody Emperor from Present. Excellent track. And then we have another track from one of Peter's solo albums. A Loose Is Not a Home, which comes from the Silent Corner and Empty Stage. Great track, and it's great live. Masks from You from the World Record is on here. Childlike Faith from Still Heart Live. Can't go wrong with that one. Then we have Go. Then we have La Rosa from Still Life. From Do Not Disturb, Alpha Berliner. A really good track off one of the later albums. Over the Hill from Trisector. Love that track. Room 1210 from Do Not Disturb. Manerg from Porn Hearts. House with No Door. Brilliant to hear that live. That one. This is a great album. It's got some tracks that you wouldn't expect. They sound great. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. Coming in at number 3. Released in 2015. This is Merlin Atmos live performances recorded in 2013 on their European tour. Peter, Hugh and Guy. This opens up with a great track off one of Peter's solo albums. It's from the Black Box, which is a great album, and it's the Bombastic Flight, 21 minutes of it. Brilliant. It's great that they do this, and considering these guys, Hugh Banton played on it, and I think Guy Evans did as well, so it's not like they're playing something foreign. So yeah, it's a great track and it's a great version of it. Lifetime from Trisector and All the Time Before. 2 great tracks. Then they do Bunch Show from the Grounding Numbers, which is always brilliant to hear. And then we get from Porn Hearts the brilliant A Plague of Lighthouse Keepers in its entirety. Absolutely stunning. Then we get Gog, which is a really good track. Interference Patterns from Trisector, which was a track they seem to like doing. Over the Hill from Trisector as well is on here. Grounding in Numbers, the track from that they've done here is Time Starts Now. Excellent little track. Scorched Earth from God Bluff's on here. Then another 15-minute version of the Songwriters Guild from World Record. Manerg is on here, and A Childlike Faith, Childhood Still Life. Excellent album. Topped off with, of course, A Plague of Lighthouse Keepers in its entirety. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 2. It's another than BBC, After the Flood, and it's recorded between 1968 and 1977. The first bits are done at the Top Gear sessions in 1968, where it's Keith Ellis on bass, Guy Evans drums, lead vocal, Peter Hamill and piano, Hugh Banton. Now these are 3 tracks from the Aerosol Grey Machine, which is great to hear. People You Know We're Going To, Afterwards and Necromancer. Great to hear these early tracks done at the time. So we'll move on to 1970, and the band that play on these tracks is Nick Potter, Guy Evans, Peter Hamill, Hugh Banton and David Jackson. And we get 2 tracks from The Least We Can Do Is Wave at Each Other. You get After the Flood and Darkness. Super tracks. Move on to 1971 and the Sounds of the 70s sessions with Guy Evans, Peter Hamill, Hugh Banton and David Jackson. They do Manerg off Pawn Hearts. And then they do Theme 1, which was written by George Martin. Now, the first time I ever heard this, it was an album single from 1972, but on the Friday Rock Show with Tommy Vance, when he was reading out requests and things like that and talking, he would play this tune, and I loved their version of it. Brilliant track. Then, from The Least We Can Do, Wave at Each Other, we have Vision and Darkness. Move on to another session now, the John Peel ones, which are actually on that Maida Vale. So we got Pawn Hearts and W, Manerg and W, and Kill It from H to He. The CD, next CD, carries on with the sessions. Refugees from The Least We Can Do album, Scorched Earth from God Bluff. And then we move on to 1975. So we've got Sleepwaters from God Bluff, Still Life from Still Life, and La Rosa from Still Life. 1976 session now. From World Record, we have When She Comes and Masks. Move on to another session done in 1977 with Nick Potter on bass, Charles Dickey on the cello, Guy and Peter, Graham Smith. So they do 2 tracks from the Quiet Zone Pleasure Drome album, Cat's Eye Yellow Fever and The Sphinx in the Face, which is brilliant. And then they do a thing called Fragments of a Plague of a Lighthouse Keeper, and mixed in with Sleepwaters from Pawn Hearts and God Bluff. A slice of history here in this one. Especially that CD, brilliant CD one with all the early sessions. I love this album, and I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9.3. But my number one is their very first live album, and it's called Vitel. It was recorded in 1978 at the Marquee Club, 1 month after the band's breakup. So we've got Peter Hamill, Nick Potter on bass, Graham Smith violin, Charles Dickey cello, David Jackson saxophone, and Guy Evans drums. Now, it opens up with a song that was a B-side of the single Cat's Eyes, and it's called Ship of Fools. It's a very good track. I do like that one. Then we have the title track from Still Life, brilliant as ever. Then from the Quiet Zone and Pleasure Drome, we have Last Frowning, which is a fantastic track. Then we have a track from one of Peter Solo's albums, Mirror Images, PH7. Brilliant track. And then we have a medley of A Plague of Lighthouse, Sleepwalkers. So they've sort of condensed them again, and it always sounds good when they condense them. It's a pretty good track. Up next is from H to He, Pioneers Over Sea. Great to hear that, the full 17 minutes version of it. Then we have Sci Finance, another of Peter Hamill's solo tracks from In a Foreign Town, which these guys played on it anyway. Then we have Door, which was it was from a compilation. It was a bonus track on the Quiet Zone. So pretty good. Then we have another sort of little medley of urban. We've got Urban Killer, and then goes back into urban from the H to He. Another track from Peter Hamill's solo career, Nadia's Big Chance. Brilliant track to end the album. I think this is a great live album. It just sort of epitomises the height of their career. And it's great to hear some of Peter Hamill's studio stuff as well on this. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. So they got a little bit of a live Van der Graaf generator. Great in the studio, but even better as a live outfit. Okay, coming up next is a new album review, and it's actually a viewer's request. Now, a few weeks ago, Zeb on a live stream asked me to have a look at Micro Motor Psycho and their new album, which came out in February. So I give it a listen, and I was pretty impressed. So we're going to do a review of it. So see you soon. Bye for now.